Haganah Shabbos Young Israel, Mazel Tov to Dr. Michael and Liz Michelle upon the name of granddaughter Shira Leah, born to Dr. Avi and Ora Michelle. May the Michelles and the rest of us continue to experience much nachas in good health from our growing mishpachos. The Chumash, in describing the daughters of Tzlavchad and the desire for a portion in the land of Israel, notes Vatikravna benos Tzlavchad ben Chefer, that's the daughters of Tzlavchad, who was the son of Chefer ben Gilad, the son of Gilad ben Machir, the son of Machir ben Menashe, the son of Menashe, Lemishvachas Menashe ben Yosef, all the way back to Yosef HaTzadik. This is unusual to have so many generations. Obviously, it's for a reason. And Rashi notes, Loma Nemar. Why does the Chumash have to go all the way back to Yosef? That's Elalomar Lach Yosef Chiveves Arzo. Yosef loved the land, and so too Vinosav Chivivus Aretz, and so too his descendants, his great granddaughters, also loved the land. The love of Eretz Yisrael, of the land, was a source of Yosef HaTzadik's great pride and a fundamental part of his identity. I must have told the story in years past, but my grandfather, Olav Shalom, had the privilege of leading a group of Rabbanim on a trip in the early 1950s to Israel. And at that time, that was a big deal. It wasn't like today you can't go to Israel either unless you want to be quarantined. But those days was a big deal. This is one of the first large groups of Rabbanim to visit Israel after 1948, and they met with Reb Tzvi Yehuda Kook Zichron Livracha. And at that time, my grandfather had the privilege of introducing the delegation of Rabbanim as American Rabbanim who have come to visit Israel. So Rav Kook right away, through Yehuda right away corrected. No, not American Rabbanim, but Eretz Yisrael Dika Rabbanim. That's who are who happen to live in America right now. You're not American Rabbanim, you're Israeli Rabbanim who live in America for the time being. And Rav Kook proceeded to quote a medrash, which the medrash teaches, and I quote, Moshe Rabbeinu did not merit burial in the land of Israel. And according to the Medrash, Amar Lefanav comes Moshe to Hashem, it says, Ribbanu Shalom, Atzmas of Shal Yosef Nichnesu La'aretz. Yosef's bones were buried in the land of Israel. Vani, any Nechnas La'aretz, and I can't. Amar LaKadosh Baruch Hu, you can't go. You know why? Mi shehade ba'artzo, nikber ba'artzo. One who admitted to his origins, who associated with his land, he gets buried there, and one who doesn't. Where do we find Yosef Hoda Ba'arzo? Where do we find that Yosef apparently identified and was proud of where he came from? Well, because when with Eshes Potifar Hevi Lanu Ish Ivri. That's Yosef, described Yosef as an Ish Ivri who came and gave me a hard time, whatever. But he was identified clearly as an Ish Ivri, as opposed to Moshe Rabbeinu, when Yisro's daughters come home and report to their father who they met. So they say that Ish Mitzri Hitzilanu Miyad Roim, we were saved from the shepherd, we were saved from the shepherds by an Egyptian man. Moshe wasn't Chas v'Shalom hiding anything, but he wasn't clearly identifiable to the extent of Yosef HaTzadik. And thus, says the Medrash, Yosef merited entrance into the land, and Moshe Rabbeinu, even for the sake of Kivura, did not. Israel is not simply a source of pride and a source of identification for us, but is a manifestation of our relationship with the Ribbanu Shalom. The Chumash describes the land of Israel as the land in which Ein Hashem Lokecha Ba Mereishis HaShana Dachri Shana. That's the eyes of God, as it were, on the land of Israel from year's beginning to year's end, to the extent that there's a special divine providence, special Hashgacha Pratis, that the land of Israel experiences. The Gemara says all the rain is first decided how much goes to Israel, then whatever's left goes to the rest of the world. Ein Hashem lokecha ba. There is a special degree of hashgacha pratis, of divine providence, that Israel experiences, and that through our identification with Eretz Yisrael, that special relationship is ours as well, without the special relationship that Ribbon Shalom has with his children, Sam Segula, the source of our brachos, our good health, and all the bounty of the Ribbon Shalom. L'arich Yamim V'Shanim Tovim. Have a very good Shabbos.